Finally. Hello, people. How are you doing? Terribly sorry about the wait. I'm forever sorry. We had a guest lined up. There has been some sort of scheduling issue. It's probably something on our side because we are like all like hard R's around here. Before we start, if you want to fix problems like this, then we can fix this by having extra people on board, and that needs money. So you can either become a channel member, you can go and support us on Rockfin, you can follow the link to the Patreon. Any of those things will help us out. Also, this show will be in audio format at some point next week, probably Wednesday, on all podcast platforms. Spotify is probably the best one to listen to it on, if not Apple Podcasts. And that's pretty much all people listen to podcasts on, isn't it, if we're honest? But it's on all the other ones as well. Without further ado, David, Ollie, why am I so massive?
You are massive.
Why have we got...
I kind of like it.
You know,
I figured it'd be you that would say that.
Fix it, Ollie. Thank you. Yeah. So
Dave's impressed with that.
God, that was the biggest. Is that the biggest like mess around in the history of Alien Addict for trying to get a show going?
I think it is. I mean, we may still get Rekkr tonight. I don't know, but I think note to ourselves is what we should do. I think Dave called it is a couple of days before the show, a little email out and say this is the time, blah blah blah. But yeah. I'm sure we'll get Rekkr back, or he may join mid-show. And if he does, we'll hit the intro again because we made an intro. We changed the thumbnail last minute, everything.
Yeah, it's been an interesting weekend though, hasn't it, guys?
Has it?
Yeah.
What's happened?
I think so. Well, like our friend Ashton has been taking a bit of a kicking online, and much as the Mick West debunks go, I'm not convinced how much like validity there is to some of it, to some of the kickings.
How organic it suddenly came about that two large shows coordinated together to take down one guy.
Two large shows, and then you've also got Mick West wading in and tweeting once every fucking 25 seconds. Would feel damn
almost like it's a job. What?
Yeah, like the my opinion on Mick West. I mean, again, I could be wrong. Has changed slightly. Not like him personally. I don't know him personally, but it does seem weird. Like I mean, then again, it might not even need to be if he is like making his money from like Metabunk and that's whatever the other debunk site is he does. Then maybe he doesn't even need to be controlled because if that's how you're getting paid, if you're a hammer, everything's a nail.
I'd like for us to get that gig.
Well, that's it. And I mean, I know we like messed around like in the last 20 minutes to change the thumbnail, but it didn't take much to think of a show last minute.
In a way, I'm happy about this actually. Yeah, I am. I'm happy that we could bring this up again, like off the back of that last week's show.
I don't see the show on Concrete. I'm looking it up right now.
Maybe it's coming because
it's coming.
Yeah, he put a poll up yesterday on Twitter saying, "Should I release the episode of Ashton on Concrete, or should I spare him the embarrassment?" Is what
Danny Jones did.
Yeah, that he put it up as a poll. Now, what I did, the other thing I find strange was whoever that guy was from that other podcast I'd never heard of, the 6-hour one that's half of it's gone out. Like the title with that was what is it, M370?
If it's Julian, I've forgotten his surname.
No.
Julian something.
Malaysian MH370. And it was like MH370 whistleblower. Now, I don't think Ashton has ever referred to himself as a whistleblower, nor does he even like fit the description of a whistleblower.
Yeah, he doesn't even take credit for all the information.
No,
like they always say that, like, you did this. He's like, I didn't do this.
no,
A bunch of people did this.
Yeah,
yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, it would be interesting to see if the concrete people release theirs. I'm looking through his thing.
I
now.
don't understand why you'd ask a guest to come on the show for this interesting story when you've got a big platform only to try and tear the guest to pieces.
What was the other?
It's the oddest thing I've seen.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with your microphone, Ollie, but you're really quiet when you lean to one side. When you don't turn it up, because when you're sat straight, it's fine. When you sat like that, it's fine. But when you slouch off to the side, it goes really quiet.
What's the name of the other podcast that Ashton was on that he did 6 hours on?
I think it was just the guy's name. Ollie said his name before.
It's Julian. Somebody in the chat will know. It's Julian something. I mean, in all fairness, so I've watched the whole thing, and in all fairness to this Julian chap, I can see he's got that. You can see that's his kind of like style of interviewing. He does like he kind of wants. He wants to put the guest in a hard situation. So he did warn him at the beginning. I haven't watched any of his other stuff to know if that is actually true. I've probably just made that up. But he did say at the beginning of the podcast, "You've come on the wrong podcast if you don't want to be, ripped a new arsehole, so to speak."
It screams he screams full on bro science. That guy, I even listened to the way he spoke. See, what I did find interesting was, I mean, Ashton said when he was on our show that
Julian Dory, thank you.
Yeah.
Terrestrial material.
You know what? I'm going to shoot Ashton a message and see if he wants to come on and talk to us about.
Let's do that.
What happens if we get Rekker?
He can join right in.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to work out that with Recker. We'll figure that out. That's just miscommunications floating around. I'd love to have him on. I like him. I think he's interesting. I've checked out his channel. I think it's interesting. Cool. Yeah.
He's replied. Sorry, he has replied. He said, "Is it 9 Central Time? I'm Central Time."
There he is.
There he is.
See, look at that. You little
good
faith.
Stuff.
Well, I guess we'll table this and come back in with Ashton.
Yeah. So Rekker, we can see down the bottom what the show's already live. So we're gonna we're gonna hit the intro. And
hang out for just a second, bro.
There we go. Let's get the show on the road, people. People, get tweeting.
So they have the most basic rudimentary of weapons. These are 16 gauge shotguns. If you can see, this is very badly rusted. The break action is fabricated. I'm not even sure how well these will fire. I mean, they'll fire. They have one shot, and it's going to take some time to reload. This barrel is filled with debris. These weapons are not very well maintained or taken care of. And for anyone coming here to hurt these people, this is the perfect people. They have almost no defense. You might as well throw rocks. I know. This is filled with dirt.
Let's bring him on.
Yeah. Hey, man.
Rekker, the American Vindicta show. Awesome show, by the way.
Yeah.
So glad to have you back, mate.
Hey guys, good to be back. Hola. It is surreal to be back on the show, considering the fact that we, literally talked last time, went to Peru and are back. And yeah, so what do you guys want to know?
Everything with sugar on top.
Well, so I assume you guys have watched the debrief that Timothy Alberino and I did.
Yes.
To get into the more intricate part of that, go ahead, man.
I was just gonna have you recovered from the drink you drank. It
looked delicious.
Oh, it was disgusting.
How did it smell?
It was horrible. I would say that if you took buttercream milk and you let it sit outside on a warm day and you put like coconut shavings in it, that's what it tasted like. It was disgusting. I don't know how Tim just drank it. He's, oh man, it's the best Masato I've ever had. And I was throwing it up in my mouth. And he's like, trust me, that's good Masato. You don't want to have bad Masato. I'm like, I don't want to have Masato at all. It was horrible. I don't know how those people do it.
Yeah. For everyone watching, now that if I remember correctly, that's on Tim's channel, right? Timothy Alberino, the full debrief. People should go there, check that out. Check out Rekker's channel, American Vindicta. Let's get that out of the way. You also drove through my state, I believe this last weekend, doing a shooting class.
Where at?
Tennessee.
No, so we'll be in Tennessee in December.
Oh, it's coming soon.
Yeah, we just had the last class here in Texas, south of the DFW area. So yeah, this upcoming December we're having the big class. So that'll be fun. Next month.
And where can people find that out? And what's that about? That way you get your.
So that's at readymaderesources.com. You can sign up. That's going to be a 4-day class that's going to involve patrolling tactics, nighttime, daytime operations. We're going to be doing a lot of shoot house stuff, a lot of scenario-based training, and some live fire, and some surprises thrown in there for people too. But it's an ass-kicking course because they're about 12-hour days. So, you get every bit of the money that you put into this course. It's not a prima donna course where, you spend $900 to shoot a pistol for 3 hours. No, we're training you to the best of our ability. It's fun, man. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, that's good for everyone to check out. And now that you're here, man, again, for those for like the details, they can go check that out. But I just as the type of person I am, please tell me they're not using 16 gauge birdshot. Like they're doing cut shells or waxers or something, right?
They're using 16 gauge birdshot. I mean, I looked at the rounds, and not every round they're doing this to, but some rounds they're cutting it open and they're melting the projectiles and putting them back into the shot. But even then, it's. I was talking with a buddy of mine. All right, he's special operations. We were in DHS together, and I asked him, I was like, with all the cool guy stuff that you did, if I gave you very questionable high-tech equipment and then very questionable high-tech armor, and I said, go to this village, by the way, you're not going to have any offensive weapons, and I want you to just start making incursions and scaring people, and you're going to get shot with birdshot, probably a lot. What would you do? And he's like, I'm not going.
Yeah,
because it's the most reasonable thing. Nobody wants to get shot with a shotgun. One of these entities, these beings, these guys, they were shot point blank, and so just to start back over. What was our goal? All right, so our goal was to go down there and to give as professional of a investigation as possible. Timothy Alberino led the entire excursion. He did an awesome job. This was his baby. I was there to support him. I did all the filming. I helped him out with a lot of the questioning with the investigations and it was not what we thought it would be when we got there because, face peelers, right? It's got to be something more than face peelers.
Sorry, just quickly to interrupt. What were you expecting when you went? If you said it wasn't what you thought it would be, what did you expect?
So for me, I thought from the beginning that this was related to a people problem. Let's just say that. I thought humans were heavily invested in this. Some sort of technology that we don't know, can't explain. The face peeling, there just wasn't enough to go off of. So, we wanted to go down there and give it a proper investigation, get our witness testimonies and evidence. And the way that you do these type of investigations is that you don't want to be biased and leaning towards an opinion. You just want the evidence to produce what it produces naturally. And so, whenever Tim would be questioning people or I'd be helping him with questioning people, it was basically more or less like, hey, okay, what happened to you? And then the witness would give us their testimony and we would log it in video evidence. And that was it. We didn't guide conversations. We would try to have them expound upon information, to which occasionally, we got some very unique answers, but for the most part, it was strange how uniform the responses were. Everybody in this village, about 180 people, and if you look up San Antonio de Pitayacu, from Iquitos, it's westward of Iquitos, about 33 to 35 miles as the crow flies through dense. This is probably the most dense jungle in the world. Right, it is isolated. All up and down that river, these things are happening. Even further up the river, these types of events are happening. Now we're hearing that these events are happening on the other side of Peru. So it's no longer isolated. When we got there, we expected, I would say we don't really know what to expect. We weren't naturally leaning on the alien thing, right? And we made that clear. We don't know what it is. We're going there to find out. But very quickly after being there, we discovered a few things. It's most likely not aliens. It's most likely not miners with jetpacks. It's most likely not cartel. And, from there, what is it? I don't know. And that's the most honest answer is, we were only able to spend 3 days in this village. And, it costs a ton of money to get this done, by the way. We didn't sell anything. We didn't make anything. We didn't make a movie. We didn't sell, we went there strictly to find the evidence and then to present it. And we got a lot of hate mail for that. Whatever. But we didn't enrich ourselves off of any of this. So, going there, finding the evidence that we found, it's all very uniform. It's humanoid figures that are 6 foot to 7.5 feet tall. They're typically on some sort of a black uniform. One or two of the witnesses said that, they shine their light on the guys and they had this silver-like uniform, riding disc, these circular disc-like platforms that they would stand on that we guessed was probably about 3 feet in circumference. I mean, just by the way they always said they naturally stand. They weren't lanky. They weren't heavily bulked out, so they were just large. And so in my mind, we're like, it's like an NBA basketball player, just a big dude, right? They had the ability to leap and bound over houses, leap and bound over these, 30, 40-foot trees, very agile. They were very fast, but they didn't hit anybody with any offensive weapons. They weren't, going in there and, dismembering people. There's so many things that's odd. I'll tell you my mindset about this, and then I'll let you guys probe me for questions. But what's interesting about this, if this was a military operation, right? I'm a military guy. They did it completely wrong. Okay, if you're going to be using some sort of technology that is stealth, and you're operating mainly at night, as far as we knew before we got there, right? Operating at night, then you have night vision capability, all right? And if the whole goal is to capture a person for either human trafficking, sex trafficking, or for, you know, taking their freaking faces off, why were you so shitty at it?
Yeah.
Like the accounts of, we're talking about like 2 7-foot tall guys struggled with a 5-foot tall 14-year-old 100-pound Peruvian girl, Talia. All right. Interesting thing to note about Talia, she gave us the best description of these guys. She actually talked about the uniform. She talked about the body armor that they wore. They had some sort of a triangular pattern of metal on their chests, shoulders, I think forearms, legs, like around the thighs. And reminiscent to me, it sounded like motocross gear.
Yeah.
Right? Immediately, I'm like, I could get on, I could order what she's talking about right now on Amazon. It's motocross gear. The helmet, black visor, dark helmet, dark in color, elongated, a hard case style backpack. And we're thinking the backpack, because it's not a jetpack, we're thinking the backpack is either a small power plant or maybe it's holding batteries. And that's what's powering them. So on their feet, the most common description, I mean, we had over 100 men tell us this description, all right, that the bottom of their feet, they have these round discs, and that they saw footprints, right? So they could walk and they would glide. Why walk when you can glide, right? That's strange to me. So then these larger circular platforms, they would step into the platforms, like click, click. Talia said that whenever the guy grabbed her, because she was out in the back, she's picking fruit. When the guy grabbed her, he like depowered the platform, hit the ground, grabbed her, and then reached down and touched something on the side of his ankle, like a button, and levitated, and then just quickly maneuvered. I mean, very, very agile, very fast. And by the time she got down towards the chicken coop, another one of these guys came and grabbed her feet, and that's when they did all the other stuff. That's when they did the nasal syringe with narcotics. That's what we're thinking. That's when they did, the stuff with the face, rubbing this white cream on the face. To me, it sounds like a very high-powered lidocaine, maybe.
Numbing cream.
And it also opened up the capillaries of the face. She said that her face instantly started to swell, so it's bringing all the blood to the surface. So why do you need that? Immediately, I started thinking about the thing that Sandra Bullock said a long time ago about how she was doing the blood treatment on her face. So, I don't know why you need a face. If we want to go deep into this, maybe there's like an eyes wide shut party, and you're only invited if you have like bring your own face, right?
But then why leave them alive? Like, life is cheap. Life is cheap, right?
When they went to kidnap Talia, she was fighting and struggling. One of the guys open hand smacks her to the ground. And this is her very human-like. And by the way, this is her testimony, okay? And we just have to take it on face value for what it is. She gets knocked to the ground, dropped, whatever. And I think the most interesting part about this is when they started to speak in Spanish, and she noticed 2 different accents. She said a gringo and then a Peruvian. So the Peruvian Spanish, that jungle dialect that they were speaking, is very different compared to regular Spanish. And Doug speaks no Spanish. So while I'm there, like I'm the butt end of all jokes. I have no idea what's being said around me, and I cannot understand what anyone is saying when we're interviewing them. So I guess the thing that freaked Talia out is that the 2 guys that kidnapped her, we reminded her so much of them because of our stature. And if you look at the pictures and videos of us, we're giants out there. These people are like 5 feet tall, right? These people are like 5 feet tall. And I'm easily like 2.5 times the size of the average guy in that village. So, you know, I can see how they, from human appearances, you know, if you talk about the nature of psychology at night, the blood's up, the blood pressure's up, the adrenaline's dumped, and they're seeing these guys levitating on these discs. They look gigantic to them, right? If I had the ability to do a little bit longer investigation, I would continue to ask these guys questions and just try to do as much memory recall as possible. That's one of the things I learned as a use of force instructor, is to always try and get as much memory recall out of our officers after an incident, because, you know, that first 72 hours, things are kind of foggy. You're looking at everything through tunnel vision, and you're trying to recall everything that's going on around you. Well, same thing with these witnesses and their testimonies. If we had more time with Talia, we probably could have pulled a lot more stuff out of there. But, you know, I don't know at the same time, because of how dramatic everything was. I don't know what she fabricated in her mind, because there's going to be that. You have to account for that. But her brother saw them. At least 5 to 8 men of that village. I mean, like if this is where the incident happened, there's a circle of houses with guys with shotguns. And so, like, if it's one of you two guys, right? It's two of you guys. You're going to kidnap some girl in the middle of this little village with guys surrounding you with shotguns, and you don't have any weapons. You guys feel comfortable doing that? Who wants to take the first slug to the hip?
Yeah.
Right? Right? And interesting to note that when these guys were being shot or shot at, they never heard anything verbal, no verbal commands. They never heard them talking on the radios. They never heard like I've been shot. Nothing. Dead quiet. And even with, you know, really quiet radio operations, you would still hear murmuring. But nothing. Only Talia is the one who identified any type of conversations, and we don't know if that, you know, happened in her head. There's some people who are speculating maybe it was telepathic. I don't know. We're not there for that. We're there just to gather the evidence and then, you know, see what the evidence produces. But I can tell you this much: those people are scared to death. They burnt down over 5 acres worth of jungle. We walked it, and, you know, we're like, wow. And we're with the Apu, Hyro, and we're like, you burnt all this down? And they said we had to, because the primary jungle was right on the you know, the back porches of everybody in this village, and that's where these things would just appear. And so they cleared out easily 100 meters outward, and then 5 acres in a crescent, so that they had better line of sight, you know. And Tim and I, we had rolled around a few things while we were there. We're like, you know, because the 3 days we were there, we didn't see anything, right? We didn't think we would see anything. But the 3 days we're there, we're getting so much witness testimony. I mean, people were lining up to talk to us. And we're like, are these people, like, are they screwing with us? Like, are they feeding us what we want to hear, because we're bringing them aid, because we brought them, you know, food and medicine? I'm not going to say they could have cared less about it, but they unloaded the boat for the supplies that we got them. They put it in the main government house. We took a cool picture with it, and then it went to their storehouse, and never heard about that ever again. And these guys went back to patrolling and asking us questions, and we're asking them questions. Like, you know, these guys were freaked out, totally freaked out.
It seems
Guns
a bit
on them the whole time.
Beyond, it seems a bit beyond the pale as well that these people would come out with a story like this just on the off chance some people happen to bring them stuff.
Yeah, and once again, people who are naysaying about this, we had to charter a boat, and we had to go 2.5 days up the Amazon River. That is not a straight path. I mean, it snakes the whole way like this. I mean, we were going maybe like 5 knots the entire time. We weren't going more than 10 miles an hour, probably ever. And so it took forever to get there. And then we stayed all day and all night in that village. No one ever asked us for money. They didn't ask us for extra stuff. They were genuinely, they were like, "Why are you helping us?" And so we just told them, well, for one thing, we're Christians and we feel God's called us here to help you. And two, you guys do need help. So we believe something is going on, and we're here to help you. And, maybe we helped them, maybe we didn't. We gave them night vision, and it's cheap night vision, guys. We can't give them the stuff our military has, because that's an ITAR classified piece of equipment. It can't leave the country. So, we gave them stuff that we, got off of Amazon. They're about $300 a piece. They work really good, and they can record on them. So hopefully they get to record something. I gave them Hyro, the Apu, the chief. I gave him my FLIR Scout. That's like a $700 piece of equipment. We gave them high-powered Baofeng radios. We gave them these $300 high-power O lights. So we dropped probably about $3,000 worth on them, and we didn't tell them we were bringing that. We brought that literally for their safety and success and protecting them, because, man, coming out there, we had heard multiple stories once meeting the villagers that, they had accidentally shot themselves. And when you go out there and you see, it's like working with the Iraqis again. When you see these guys carrying guns like purses, a barrel is always pointed either at your groin, your torso, or your face at some point in time during the day. And so, we had to always be cognizant of that. We asked everyone to take rounds out of all chambers while we were there. And then we gave them proper, instruction on how to use those guns so that no one else would get hurt, so that they would be more successful in protecting the village.
How long did you train them for?
Just one night. We only had time for one night, but it was a consistent thing. And, all we did, and we had a guy out there who's, I think he's the head instructor for the Peruvian jungle survival class. Great guy. Me and him just went over some basic infantry tactics. Here's a column patrol. Walk around like this. And if anything happens, you guys just get online and then address it. Don't fire until you're told to fire. Because before that, they were ants on a frying pan. They were just moving all around the place. And you could see that these guys, they were not afraid, for one thing, at all. I thought this was a very interesting point, is that when these creatures or whatever would come into the outskirts of the village, the men would see them, and then they would all get online, run towards them, and start shooting at them, and then these creatures would just flee. Oddly human thing, right? Oddly human thing. Which doesn't make sense. Why are you doing a cat and mouse game if you are human? Why are you risking having a mini artillery strike with 16 gauge shotguns pointed at you? Like, 30 or 40 shotguns firing in one direction. That's dangerous, right?
You know what it kind of sounds like? It sounds like a guided trophy hunt, like people who go for bears with bows.
I was going to say.
So I have considered this. Alberino and I talked about this. With Epstein Island, they were hunting kids out there.
Yeah.
There's a place in the Dominican Republic that we're aware of where similar actions are going on. And so, I talked about these eyes wide shut style parties. Well, that's the people who go there. Once you have enough money to buy an island, what don't you have enough money to buy? The boat that we chartered, good group of guys, right? The boat's owned by a bunch of doctors, and they go, way up into the Amazon, and they take people on these scientific expeditions, and they have their own little piece of the forest, like 50 acres or whatever, that I guess they purchased. And so it's a scientific observatory, and you can go there and, just observe the wildlife. Well, if 8 guys who are just, retired doctors and whatever from America can buy 50 acres that takes almost 2 weeks to get to up the Amazon River, guys, and I'm telling you, 2 days up the Amazon River, nobody's coming for you. Nobody's coming to rescue you. Like, if anything happens to you, you have to haul ass back to Iquitos. There's really, I mean, you're probably not going to have a place for a helicopter to reach you, let alone no one has, I think, the ability to reach a helicopter out there. So you have to take a pecky, which is a little outboard boat, and you have to haul butt all the way back to Iquitos, which is about a 6 to 7 hour trip. Now you keep going down the river, I mean, no one's coming for you. So if these guys can be 2 weeks deep in the Amazon for some scientific observation, what can a billionaire do? If part of the Amazon rainforest is for sale, what can't they buy? And, I went back and forth with the cartel a lot, and I didn't know if the cartel was involved. It seemed like there's a possibility just because of the area that we're in. But, the Mexican cartel, they have equipment that is supposed to be American Special Forces equipment only, but yet they've got it. So where are they getting that from? And if the Mexican cartel can get it, then who can't get it? So, we don't have any good answers. It warrants more investigations and more time, of which we just didn't have the time for. So, I think some people are disappointed we didn't come back and say, oh, it's aliens. We don't know what it is, but most likely, I believe it's people. It's very insidious. It's very nefarious. They are preying upon people. They have some sort of equipment that is a next gen that we don't have. And it's not an isolated incident. They're not trying to scare these people off of their land. This was happening in Nalta, which Nalta is a city of over 30,000 people with the military there. So this was going on there. So I don't know how to explain further of what we saw and what we experienced.
Do you think they are based nearby there, or do you think they are going there, whatever they are? Because I know, you guys got that information from the villagers drawing the craft. That's that kind of like see-through from the bottom craft that they could see 2 of these guys piloting it. Do you think that they are coming there, or do you reckon they are based there?
I have no idea. Idea.
But they are drawing them. But how many of them described that craft? Was it 3 or 2 or 3 of them?
At least 2 or 3 of them. For the most part, what everyone saw was these guys on individual discs, or it'd be 2 guys on a large disc that's more than 10 foot in diameter. So it's the UFO part is really an anomaly, because that's the one thing that is really the outlier with many of our witness testimonies. Where are they at, where they're from, where are they going, I don't know. If it's human operated and it has to have batteries, well, batteries have to be charged by bigger batteries. So they have to go somewhere. I don't know how long a conventional battery source that they're using could last. That's the thing. It's like, until we get more evidence, or until someone from Lockheed speaks up about it, right? It's all conjecture, and there's so much room for interpretation that it just muddies the water.
Yeah.
And then it becomes this big what if game. And then, you can make up whatever you want to make up. The biggest thing that I could tell you is that whatever's happening is real. We interviewed the girl who was kidnapped, or the attempted kidnapping. We saw the scars. The scars, to me, it appeared to look like burn marks from, like a heated scalpel that veterinarians use or doctors use during surgeries. Because I had a cattle mutilation that was on our back pasture, and it looked like the same type of scarification that we saw that was on one of our steers. So when you just take a step back from the 30,000 foot view, still nothing makes sense. And so in a lot of ways, I think that it adds more validity to the case. It's still unexplainable. It's like Skinwalker Ranch. It's still unexplainable. If we went there and we were easily able to explain it away, sure. But there's some interesting things to note. Skinwalker Ranch, one of the guys that owned Skinwalker Ranch, his wife was there alone one time. And she said that this large ship lands out in the back pasture, and what she called Darth Vader-like figure walks out, all black, 7 foot tall, big footprints. Sounds like our guys out in the jungle. All right. And then there's another case that's in Europe, where a family was harassed for well over a year by these 7 foot tall entities that were in all black, large footprints, and they could hover and they could fly. So we're starting to see a common theme here. And, how many different cases can you go back in ufology? And that the one that I'm talking about is from the book Uninvited. So how many cases like that are out there where you have these very large imposing figures that seem to be, wearing dark clothing, and they're harassing people, and it's chaotic. It's all over the place. It's never the same type of attacks on these people. While we're out there, we didn't experience anything paranormal or poltergeists. We asked about it. They said there was nothing like that. There was no problems with the power supply that was there from the generator. None of that. It's just these guys on disc. They'd fly in, they'd scare the shit out of everybody. They'd all shoot at them, and then they'd flee. It doesn't make sense. It makes zero sense.
Have you ever heard of the Kelly Hopkinsville encounter in 1955 in Western Kentucky? I'll break it down. A small family farm encounters what they believe to be glowing lights that turn into creatures. They break out shotguns and rifles, get out in a shootout with these things. They're dropping them, knocking them down. They get back up, and they charge them. Family sits inside. There's a standoff. They go away. There's like physical evidence on the ground. People are like, you're insane. Like, look at these footprints. Other people from around saw it. What's going on? Now, Kentucky actually has they called them hobgoblins, but like the reports that people gave were different. They had big heads. They wore what looked like a suit. Some people were like, they were like child size, but some of the adults were like, no, they were huge. They were, a foot taller than us. It's very interesting. Some of those little valleys and stuff in Eastern Kentucky, I know they have the hobgoblin myths and things like that. And it's a very similar thing. People, there's a reason people don't go out in the haulers at night.
Yeah. This kind of goes with, for me anyway, the idea of what you were saying before about this maybe being some sort of like hunting thing. Are you aware of a film called Monsters of Men at all? It was a film that came out in 2000. I'll bring this picture up here of the robot that's in said film.
You shared this with me earlier. Yeah.
So that's the robot that's in this film.
I know it. Yeah, I've seen this one.
Yeah, the plot of this film is there is I'll read the IMDb thing from it. A US weapons manufacturer tests 4 killer robots on heroin producers in the Golden Triangle. There's even a scene in this film where one of the robots peels a person's face off, and I'm not saying that the people have seen this and have made a story up through this, but the idea that there could be some sort of if you're talking about people using this as some sort of sport. The idea that the stories of that could drift down and then seep into films, and all of a sudden art imitates life.
If you believe anything about the stuff they say about Hollywood, maybe somebody's taken this train ride before somewhere else, and they're like, "Yeah, that would make a good movie." Remember that trip we took to Cambodia? I mean, it's very weird, man. And I believe I was listening to Tim say that this phenomenon isn't like an age-old story; it's like a 40-year-old story.
It's 50 years old. 50 years old. Originally, the Piracalas flew in on paragliders. Really? So,
wow.
Just to think about that seems kind of silly to me. But here's another correlation: is that they were flying.
Yeah.
Okay, so they are airborne. We have no idea why they picked this little jungle village. Is the oldest village that's for the Akito people that's along this river. This village is at least 200, 300 years old. And so is the bloodline. Maybe there's something to do with the bloodline. But other than that, it just doesn't make any sense. So
something just dawned on me. Like in Canada, if you go moose or elk hunting, they have those little islands where they have uninterrupted trophy animals that apparently they taste different too.
Yeah.
Unspoiled. Yeah.
Guys, I'm fixing to get off here. So I can't stay on for very much longer, but I'd love to come back on and try and have an update for you guys.
Yeah, man. Or just do chit chat. You're an interesting dude.
Yeah, man. Hey guys, appreciate it. Thank you very much for letting me
just quickly, just before you go, did anything happen with I saw a tweet from Timothy Alberino replying to a video that somebody had put on Twitter with someone that had like lacerations on his face, and the person that put the video on Twitter was trying to say it was from Peru. Has there been any update on that, about whether that was a legitimate video from the area or something?
No, we don't know. When we were in Nalta, we were told of a boy who was attacked similar way as Talia, and he was cut from above the ear all the way down to the chin. Apparently, it was very gruesome, very bloody. Yeah. There's just no explanation for it. Law enforcement doesn't have an explanation for it. The Peruvian government doesn't have an explanation for it, nor are they looking into it. So these people are truly left to their own devices. No one's going to come and interrupt what they're doing, and likewise, no one's going to come and protect these villagers either. So, yeah, man, the mystery continues.
Yeah, man.
If you want to do something like that to people, you do it to people that people aren't going to care about. In the same way as you, if you're going to steal and traffic children, you do it out of impoverished and third world countries.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you were going to abduct somebody for human trafficking, why not just go to the bars and wait for them to get drunk?
Oh yeah. I'm not saying this is anything to do with human trafficking.
That's what we thought. That's the original, because we have to look at the full spectrum of what could be going on, and why would you go through so much trouble to go so far deep into the jungle that if anything bad were to happen to your aircraft, you're landing on top of the worst, most dangerous jungle in the world, and no one's coming for you either. So none of it makes sense. This is the first real investigation to go on. Hopefully it won't be the last. Hopefully the guys at San Antonio de Pintayacu can better protect themselves now, since they are much more equipped. And what we're hoping is that they catch one of them. That's what we're hoping, is that if it is people, we hope that they catch them, and we hope it's exposed, and then the truth can be told to the world. Until then, it's anybody's game. So, guys, thanks very much for letting me come on.
Man. No, thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.
Cheers, buddy. Bye.
That was interesting.
So interesting.
It only gets weirder.
Yeah.
It only gets weirder. It gets weirder and weirder.
that this is one of those strange things that doesn't get less interesting, even if it's people.
Mm.
Gets more interesting because the thing is, if they're flying around, you're flying around in a damn jungle.
Mm.
And I'd like to see the debunkers have a go at that. You know,
well, and say they're not 7 foot. Say they're 6'5". 2 6'5" men are struggling with 100-pound girl.
Mm.
What?
That's where I land, because before you said about the like the trophy hunting idea, the first thing that came to my head was some sort of fucking gross dystopian club where it's you've got your high earning, high living tech guys that don't do anything more strenuous than lift up a cup of coffee through most of the day. And they see, am I right in thinking Doug said that the one of them got shot?
Apparently a few have been shot. It just knocks them down and they get back up.
Yeah,
or they scurry away. And if you're wearing armor and they got a single shot shotgun and they've already blown that load, you rush them. You know.
See, the interesting thing with that for me is it's so you're struggling with a child, essentially a young girl. That says at very least a lack of training, a lack of like physical training. Yeah.
Just to overpower them.
Yeah. Yet like 100% faith in the equipment you're given.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really weird. It's really weird that you would have that. It's
like a ritual hunt done as safely as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like going bear hunting with a bear-proof armor suit. And what do you get to hunt him with? A sharp stick. What happens when the bear attacks you? Oh, nothing. He can't get through the suit.
Yeah.
I find it really
have normal reactions. What's that? I'm sorry.
I find it really interesting that they've said this has gone on for years. Did you say 50 years? Say longer than that. But
they used not continuously. Like the myth is 50 years old.
I mean, what did he say? Paragliders? He does have that kind of human element to it. You can't imagine like aliens with paragliders unless it's something else that lives on this planet.
But maybe that's it.
Maybe
this has been going on for a while, and it's just what technology has been updated means that
it's got more advanced.
Yeah. So you've got the, I don't know, fucking 80-year-old billionaire in the corner go, well, of course, back in my day, we just wore vests and had paragliders to get in to rip the faces off the people.
I just have a hard time seeing them doing on like paraglide or hang glide into the jungle.
Yeah.
How do you get out? It also reminds me of like Graham Hancock talked about that in Supernatural, different events of like fairies. How, not saying that this is, just saying that like they're seen in carriages and in cars and then ships in the sky. And are you seeing something and just trying to interpret it to the best of your ability because you're not sure what you're seeing?
That's always been my thing, hasn't it? That when people talk about chariots of fire, I think they were actually seeing chariots of fire.
Yeah,
they weren't seeing. Yeah, they weren't seeing nuts and bolts craft. They were seeing what they explained.
That slap in the face is very human, though. When they hit the girl, allegedly hit the girl in the face, that's a very human, frustrated human response of like stop. And it's, I don't know, like
it's interesting. He said open-handed, though.
No, that makes more sense. Because if it's someone who is comfortable with violence, they make a fist. If it's someone who's brought to it or is uncomfortable, it's always an open hand. It's a slap. It's a very
maybe it was a woman.
Thought that too.
I don't know. She said they have men's voices.
Well, they don't know if she heard it or she heard it in her head or she made that whole part up. She like when you're under trauma, like weird things happen, man. You're seeing shit that probably didn't happen, remembering things that didn't happen. Adrenaline hits everyone, and in a traumatic experience like that, being a take, trying to have someone rip your fucking face off. I imagine. Yeah,
I'd like them to get some prints,
I would too, Ollie, but it's in the jungle.
just quickly, got to break a quote here from Jan. Thank you for you being active in the comments. Thank you. But also, I think if it was real, the government would be all over it, because the government are all over everything. All they want is what's best for people,
especially the Peruvian government. Yeah. I do not think them or Brazil are going to be involved with the equivalents of Nowhereville. They could care less what goes on out there. It's bizarre, man. It is a bizarre situation, and it only gets weirder. It only gets weirder. I wonder if there's caves out there.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I did want to see. I would love to hear the description from one of the Peruvians of what these crafts are and how long they've been seeing them for. I know we heard it on that show, but even those crafts sound almost like. I mean, what does an alien spaceship look like anyway? But it sounds like something that we've made. That like the description of it.
I don't know about that. I mean, that's the problem. Is when you get to. I think that's the easiest way for people to dismiss bizarre things, is they try and equate it to what they can understand it as, and then like, oh, it must be these things, and they walk away from ever thinking about it again because it's uncomfortable to think of. It's kind of like, just because we can recreate the miracle of someone walking on water doesn't mean someone didn't walk on water. Like just because we can recreate something doesn't mean the original wasn't amazing. With this, man, I don't know. Like, you're talking like that description of tall is a big deal. So call it 6'5" to 7 foot. That's huge. That's huge. That's Western build. That's not Central or South American build. That's a Western and North American build.
Western build, or it's part of whatever the suit is.
Then their feet would be in a weird thing. I thought about that too. Like, if they're flying and it's some kind of distortion of space time, would it distort how they appear? Would it elongate them?
Maybe. Don't forget when you look at Michael Keaton in the Batman suit, he looks completely normal. The inside of those boots were built up to make him 6'2". Yeah. 6'1", 6'2", I think. So the inside of those shoes are built up massively, because he's only about fucking 5'8".
Yeah, like Ron DeSantis is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No. He's got exceptionally long shoes as well.
He's got those toes straight down as it goes.
I always find it hilarious when politicians are taken down by the simplest of things. He's been taken down by a pair of shoes. Ed Miliband in the UK was taken down because he ate a bacon sandwich badly.
Things that irritate people. But as far as this like going on, it would be a good place. It's in the middle of nowhere, but you wouldn't be testing next level tech there. It just doesn't make sense. You're having to get it in and out of the countries, whether they care or not, or it's far away. Like, they don't test things like that too far away.
The face peeling thing sounds like a game, and it sounds like a trophy.
It sounds like a trophy. It sounds like a trophy. It definitely sounds like a trophy. That's what good. Like, the fact that they're not using weapons to do it, the fact that they are grabbing them physically.
Well, look, the thing is,
getting them alive.
We've been shown.
Sounds very frazzle drip to me, doesn't it?
It does sound very frazzle drip. We don't like that. We shouldn't use that.
What, frazzle drip?
Yeah, we shouldn't say that.
Shouldn't say what?
That.
We say that all the time.
We do a lot, Vin.
Yeah, well, we're on Rockfin, and if we keep saying that, I think that might be all we're on. In fact, this is probably a good time to fucking say this. Have we got a logo? Can I bring a logo up, Oliver? Oh, you've got some absolutely banging backgrounds there, Ollie. I like all that. Just seeing all the colourful ones you got down the bottom.
Yeah. You said you wanted more colour.
Yeah, because that looks great. Anyway, Sorry, I've just thrown myself off. We want the listeners' help, viewers' help, any of your helps. There's 83 of you there. Some of you have got to use Rumble. We plan on streaming these programs on Rockfin and Rumble, but because we haven't used the Rumble properly and we haven't promoted the fact that we've got a Rumble account, we don't have enough people to go and to live stream. We only need 100. So as soon as we get 100, we can start pushing.
I think it's 100.
It is 100. I checked. I think we've got about like 35 at the minute.
Yeah, that's for the channel we don't
over there.
Yeah. So realistically, I don't know if anyone knows this, but David Icke was banned from YouTube today. I've been saying for a long time leading up to this next US election cycle, anyone in the alternate space is on borrowed time on YouTube. I think there is going to be this another sweeping call which gets rid of a load of us. It might not be us, it's like because we talk about aliens and fun stuff,
and we are willing to sell out to the government
tomorrow.
Nice. Right now, send me a text.
The audience thinks we're joking as well.
No, we're not joking at all. Like if they show me this just went into your checking account, say this. I'm saying it. I'm gonna say it like I believe it.
This is
the second coming of Christ depends on it.
They'll know we've sold out where next week is like, welcome to Alien Addict, and this week's guest, which we have non-scripted questions for that we haven't already been through, Mr. Joe Biden.
Wonderful, brilliant, articulate man. He's a sweetheart. Runs a daycare in his spare time. The parents don't know the children are there, but they're still there.
Rumble. We need, if you've got a Rumble account, we need to go over Rumble. I think is the link in the description. Have we got our
the link is in the description. I didn't know how to get the Rumble link.
What you could just do is put my link tree in. And the link tree has all of the links, Ollie. Every single
Send me it.
I've sent it to you 500 times.
Have you?
Yes.
Do you send it on our group chat?
No, in our personal chat. This finger has no fingerprint on it anymore. The amount of times I've pressed enter, send it to you. No fingerprint.
This is Ollie's show.
Not anymore. No, it's not. It's like we are, consider us as like angel investors. We've got nothing to invest but our sanity.
That's not true. If I hit the lottery, I would fully fund this show and we would be doing crazy shit.
Yeah. Oh no, I would be as well. It'd be fucking amazing.
Yeah, we'd go to the next Epstein Island, which I'm pretty sure I know where it is.
Would we go to Peru?
Absolutely. Go everywhere.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, dude. Fuck.
What
jet would be fueling up.
I did want to. I know we're kind of moving off the Peru train with this.
We're also moving off trying to beg for Rumble things. So
I'm getting
and donations. Those stickers, all that anonymous crypto donations are always welcome.
But please go and follow us on Rumble. I genuinely, I think people should make more of an effort with Rumble anyway, because I think we're all going to end up over there. I think YouTube's going to kill itself. I think it's going to censor itself to the point that people don't go, because my bet next year is Russell Brand will go first, so his channel will be completely gone, and then the Tim Pools will be gone as well. And that will be the big move that will push people, is when
Pools go. X is just put the Rumble streaming service.
Yeah,
that's when X will allow us to do it, and then we'll go there. Yeah,
like literally, if everybody watching just goes, signs up to Rumble, then we won't ask again, and we'll just start streaming on Rumble. Everybody watching this right now can solve this problem for us.
You have the power
and the sexuality.
Yeah, but no, it's to kind of meld it with what we were speaking about before Rekkr turned up.
Wait, important question. Do we have a PayPal account?
Oliver. Moody Mongol wants to know if we've got a PayPal account.
This is your show.
I think I got a PayPal. Yeah, somewhere.
Well, don't worry about that right now because we lost £10 somewhere, didn't we? Because somebody put it into a PayPal account that we couldn't recover it from.
Oh yeah,
but yeah,
crypto accounts are the way to go because PayPal accounts is tracking that to and from crypto. What is it? There's already one set up on Rockfin.
What
you can donate the channel right through there? It goes into their crypto.
Yeah, we have an we have a Coinbase account, but I don't really understand how to use it. I set that up because we had to for Rockfin. I don't really
know how to use Coinbase.
No, not at all.
I know you can speak to David.
I haven't, to be honest. I probably can do, but I haven't looked into it because there isn't enough in our Coinbase account to withdraw anyway or to change anything.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we need
to do this for the
Ethereum. But anyway, regards. The thing I was thinking of before when we talked about like the people in these like weird suits and stuff like that is everyone that's coming out that's being like a whistleblower or even down to the thing with Ashton and the MH370, it all points towards breakaway civilization tech. And I believe that the UFO community is appropriating this tech, and because they're just saying because it's better than what we know there is, it has to be back engineered. It doesn't have to be back engineered. It doesn't have to be. I mean, and maybe it is back engineered. It doesn't have to be back engineered from aliens. If Graham Hancock's right, and we've had cycles of high technology in the past.
We've had conversations like that with people on here.
What?
We've had those conversations with people on here about that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like even off camera.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a push in this. Do you know who Patrick Bet-David is?
Yes, it is. I watched the Patrick Bet-David episode he did the other day with the guy from thing. You sent it to me. That was phenomenal. That episode. Phenomenal.
Yep. I love what Patrick Bet-David said. He said, I sat here this whole time feeling like I'm playing poker. He's like, and I still don't know. And the guy's like, well, then I've done my job. You know, you're just like, what is going on, man?
Very strange, that guy.
I think his whole purpose is to discredit any information that comes out about Antarctica. Because think about it. Like he's only on these really big shows. And he's with the Greer crew and I'm going to testify. And now when anyone looks into that, you look into Antarctica now, you're going to see one of his interviews. The algorithm's got it.
Joey, this means nothing.
Yeah.
At least I think it means nothing. Do you know what he looks and sounds like to me?
Pedophile.
Allegedly. No, he looks like, you know, when I can't remember whether it was a Star Trek movie or a Star Trek episode when Data gets feelings and goes a bit weird and odd.
Oh yeah. When his chip got turned on.
Yeah. He looks and acts like him.
He's
got a strange, almost human way of speaking to people.
He was doing a weird thing too. He was dropping specific names of wealthy and powerful people in the beginning of that show, And Patrick Bet-David's like, well, I know that guy. And he's like, well, then you know. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. You know, I like Bet-David's podcast. I think he is a wild man. You know, he's ungovernable. I can respect that. But that guy on there was bizarre.
Yeah, I love what Patrick Bet-David is doing because he is such a credible person, and he's like his home team podcast is my favorite like US current affairs sort of show to listen to. But the fact that he is just putting out like genuine, like either like financial news or America centric, like culture news, and sprinkled amongst it is some wild shit. And it's, I think it's phenomenal because I think that means that stuff is reaching people that it wouldn't reach normally.
Yeah, I think that's exactly why he's doing it. My suspicion is he thinks that there is some kind of a cabal or they, and he's like, we need to fight against them because they're burning everything.
There's a lot of
whatever they're doing something. Yeah, we have to do so. Like, was it Elon and Joe Rogan? He's like, I'm stopping it. I'm pulling the stop lever. I'm going to do this. Needs to happen. Needs to happen.
We were on about speaking of Elon. We were talking about Elon Musk on Friday, and I brought the clip up that you sent in our group, Lee, from Lex Friedman, when Elon said about it's very concerning the lack of aliens he's seen. He's very concerned about that.
Have you got that clip? Bring it up. Show Dave. If Dave might find it interesting, is it still in the side?
I will have it. Just bear with me one moment.
Because I 100% agree with like Elon Musk, and he's got more access to stuff than I do. But more importantly, I think he was 100% genuine in what he was saying.
I'm interested to see it. So Lex Friedman. So this is what the black cube thinks then, huh?
The black cube. Oh. I'm always so stuck with Elon. Did you see the Starship launch today?
No.
Oh, no, man. On the weekends, I pretty much tune out of everything. I just kind of
maybe it was yesterday, but yeah, it looked pretty wild. I still stand by. I don't think what he's doing is to go to Mars.
I don't know what's going on. Again, man, like we said before this show started, like I wake up any given day, I'm somewhere between 35% and 75% sure that reptilians are real and eating people. It's never zero.
Never zero. No.
Yeah.
More so now, again, like at the David Icke has never looked so sane.
I know. Or Alex Jones. Turns out they were right.
He had a really good interview with Russell Brand that I actually watched live over on Rumble, where you can find us.
You ready for it?
Let's rock and roll. Sugar Cup.
The first time we talked, you said which is surreal to think that this discussion was happening is becoming a reality. I asked you what question would you ask an AGI system once you create it, and you said what's outside the simulation is the question. And good question.
Yeah,
but it seems like with Grok, you started literally this system's goal is to be able to ask such questions, to answer such questions, and to ask such questions.
Where are the aliens?
Where are the aliens?
That's one of the Fermi paradox question. A lot of people have asked me if I've seen any evidence of aliens, and I haven't, which is kind of concerning because then I think I'd probably prefer to at least have seen some archaeological evidence of aliens. To the best of my knowledge, there is no proof. I'm not aware of any evidence of aliens. If they're out there, they're very subtle. We might just be the only consciousness, at least in the galaxy. And if you look at, say, the history of Earth, if one is to believe the archaeological record, Earth is about 4.5 billion years old. Civilization, as measured from the first writing, is only about 5,000 years old. We have to give some credit there to the ancient Sumerians, who aren't around anymore. I think it was archaic pre-cuneiform was the first actual symbolic representation, but only about 5,000 years ago. I think that's a good date for when we're, say, civilization started. That's 1/millionth of Earth's existence. So civilization has been around. It's really a flash in the pan so far.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's also interesting that he said that I haven't seen any archaeological aliens, but like that was a pretty clear statement. I think genuinely Elon Musk is in some kind of know, and I think him stating that, I've told you guys that I don't think aliens are real. In this galaxy, or I like how he phrased that. Sure, doesn't mean things can't slip in and out between. Like when we talked to Ashton, You know, the fact that those things went that way means there probably is some kind of simulation, and they're bending the rules of the simulation to move these objects through the game, right? Like this is the physical manifestation of like a projection coming from a quantum space or whatever. The more that I look at, the more my nose. And I had a very long conversation with my buddies at NASA and all those things about it, and they're way smarter than I am especially with that stuff. It's just like, dude, my ear is bleeding. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have the fundamental, you know. You want to launder money, I'm your guy, but you want to talk about like quantum projection of reality. I'm not your guy, you know. Yeah, it's something. He definitely, like, I think I might get one or two of my buddies. They'd want to be anonymous, but they would be interested in talking to Ashton if we get him back on.
Yeah, well, hopefully Ashton will join us next year in January. We've got another guest to come, I think, this month before the end of the month, and then
it's next Sunday, isn't it?
Next Sunday.
We've got the clown guy.
Yeah, and then we have just the company of us for December, because obviously it's Christmas time and stuff like that. People are doing stuff, and then straight away we have got like a great month of guests in January. Great month.
No, you've been on fire, man.
Oh, so yeah. I wish more people would be getting back in touch with me. I've been hitting all the faces up, trying to get some people on the show, but you know, there's only so many people that are going to reply to emails.
We're also getting people that we know to get people for us. The people that have liked us thus far. That's a big deal too. Trying to. Yeah, it's all interesting, man. Like, we didn't know where this show would go, and I think we're still kind of all over the place. We definitely need to have Doug come back on. It'd be great if you could get Tim, and we could have a much more in-depth talk about that. We'll figure that out. Schedules and emails and, you know, assumptions. Get everybody. We'll be better in the future. That's for sure. There's just so much, man. So much. The Ashton thing's interesting. The people that are coming after Ashton are it's curious. You know, I'll look at it more in depth this week.
Yeah, I don't get all the why invite the guy onto like a big podcast to destroy everything that he said. It just seems odd to do that. Don't get it.
It seems odd because although Ashton's got some traction at the minute, he hasn't got like traction. You know,
them coming for him it's over. It's too much.
It's preemptive.
Yeah,
that's what I think. If he'd done Rogan, for instance, or Friedman or something like that, it would make more sense. People coming after him, because then it's like he's big anyway because he's got loads of eyes, so they know he's been on bigger platforms than us. So if we do shows with him, it will bring eyes to our show. I mean, kind of, to be perfectly honest, apart from the fact that we find interest in anything, it's kind of what we hope for with us, because Ashton has been on bigger shows than we are. So if we do a show with him, hopefully do our best work with him, then we'll get some eyes back to us. And that video, for the numbers we get, has done really well for us. So in a way, you know, it has worked.
For a live show.
Even like there's 85 people watching now, which is probably slightly more than we get on a normal Sunday. So, you know, I think that's there's probably some people here that have tuned in this week because we did that show last week.
I hope so.
If so, thank you. We'll see you next week for Nephilim Clowns.
That's going to be a great show, by the way. I'm looking forward to Nephilim Clowns.
Not wait. I've listened to that guy a couple of times on shows, and I couldn't find an email address to him. I hit him up in the on his YouTube channel, didn't get a response, and then I realized he had his own Telegram with people speaking to. And when he replied to me on the Telegram, I thought, "Oh, this is fucking brilliant."
What's his name? So people in the chat can go check him out.
Don't ask me that, Ollie, because I will have to check. And now you've shown I can't remember it.
I can't remember it either. But he's got a ton of content. I was looking at it, I was like, there's no way I'm making it through all this.
His YouTube channel is called Understanding Conspiracies.
Understanding Conspiracies.
Yeah. So
it's going to be great.
It is going to be great.
Yeah.
So I've derailed myself there. I forgot what was I saying before we started.
My fault.
No, it's my fault for remembering the Nephilim clown thing.
No, we got to tell people about what comes next. Nephilim clowns is awesome.
Yeah, no, I can't remember. It doesn't matter. But the thing is, there's that thing of like there's no such thing as bad publicity, which is only kind of a half truth. I think. I think there is there is bad publicity.
There is bad publicity.
Yeah. But the weird thing about the guys that he's had on, especially Concrete, because Concrete's a big podcast. It seems like if you weren't worried about him, you wouldn't platform him on something so big. You just let him drift around. If there was no validity to what he's doing, you would just let him drift around in the little niche that he'd end up. And the next thing is, if it was, say, Skinny Bob, for instance, I bet there is fucking tons of little threads here and there.
Oh, mate, there's like Reddit stuff going.
Yeah.
We've got some of ours, like probably quite a few of our hits from Reddit, from people sharing the Skinny Bob stuff that we've done. Yeah. People love it.
But the thing
maybe we should hit Skinny Bob up again. I don't know.
No, we'll do that in December.
Bullshit. But the
gets people to keep looking.
But this is the thing though, because it is bullshit. What happens with it is there's not enough to go on. It's not provable. It's not disprovable. It's essentially your husband telling you that he hasn't been cheating on you. You can't tell whether it's true or not. You just got to believe what you want to believe.
Figure the warts would be the giveaway.
Yeah, maybe. But the thing with the Ashton thing is he's not being allowed just to fall into his little box within the internet and then like get the natural settling line of what he would get as an audience doing what he's doing. That says to me that there's people worried that there's enough to that story. That means that he has a high watermark for the natural level in line of the audience that will grow with that.
I think so. And we talked to him after the show about other things that we're definitely going to have him talk about when he comes back on. I don't want to spoil that, which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah. Very interesting. I really do think that I go through waves of where my head's at with like the cabal type situation. We go from like the eyes wide shut thing. There's the satanic cult type elements to things like that. I really do believe that the breakaway civilization is like not an unmined resource, because lots of people have spoke about it, but probably for us is kind of, it's a box that we haven't really opened before. Is what if this stuff's all human tech, and what if it's a counter culture, like civilization, whatever it would be, that just kind of exists alongside us. And we don't know because it's so fucking technically advanced. It's one of those things that always makes you wonder, like the remember that building that popped up in New York and no one knew where it was? No windows and stuff in it.
Yeah.
Go, what's going on in there?
I took you to one.
Yes. Yeah. But the it was like what's going on with stuff like that?
Servers.
Maybe
allegedly,
or just a lift, just a lift down.
I have someone, if I could get him on, they could talk about things like that.
I don't
know if he would.
A dumbs guy. I'd like a dumbs chat.
He's very credible, but we couldn't talk about his credibility.
Why
so
it
would just be, huh?
Yeah. I think you've built up enough credit, certainly with me and Ollie. I like to hope so with the audience, that we don't think you would bring somebody on if it was just like for shits and giggles.
He's already been on the show.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's talk about it. Anyway,
is it who I'm thinking of?
Is it the? I mean, there was, when you guys came out here, there was only the one sexual assault. So, yeah. Like you remember.
I can't forget.
Yeah, I like the screams. That's the only way I can finish. Yeah, no, there's a lot of good potential. The Ashton thing, though, Lee, I'm very much with you. The fact that they're coming for him the way they are. So this is what always I notice, like when I look at social media from a high view. If I say I'm in a plane at 50,000 feet looking down, right, the big overview. What I see is I try and watch for the trends. People all using the same words to describe the same descriptors, the same scenario, because there's a certain amount, like you get a social contagion and people pick it up because they want to be associated with whoever's doing it. Mick West relies on it heavily. Even with little sock puppet accounts allegedly, helping to propagate it. Why? People are like, it's a natural thing. It isn't. Not when you see it. And with
it's surprising how many people have sock puppet accounts.
It's kind of mind-blowing, isn't it? It's mind-blowing. People who rail and rage against people who have them. That's the thing, man. When someone protests heavily, it's like, why? Why are you coming down on this?
See, right. Do you know what I find really weird? I mean, I obviously I haven't listened to the Concrete podcast yet, but it's obviously not going to be favorable towards Ashton just because the guy said, like, should we put this up, and so or should I save the embarrassment and can it? So we know which way it's going to go.
Yeah.
So 6 days ago was the last episode he put up. The last episode was Stargate, Physics Unmasked, the Pentagon's most disturbing black project. The one before that was New Evidence Links Tesla Technology to the Pyramids. The one before that, NASAcist? No. Did NASA physicists confirm Great Pyramid's true purpose? CIA and FBI expose UFOs in China. 16th of October, Lost Mine Atlantis. So it's not like this guy isn't fucking around with topics. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
he's in the nonsense. So why are you calling this? Like, why are you making it personal?
Why not embrace if that's your game? Why aren't you embracing the nonsense?
Yeah, nonsense is fun.
Because it's not. It is. I know people in the comments are going to turn around and say, "No, you need to find the truth." But we're not journalists. We're fucking commentators at fucking best, entertainers hopefully at worst.
That's what we're good at. And the thing is, to truly know, is only dangerous.
But the thing is, it's nobody wants, right? I'll pick on Lou Reviews slightly here. Not him, kind of like the guy. But his show is now less popular since he's just become salty about everything. Because realistically, none of us want to tune into a show every day where people tell us Santa Claus isn't real. Nobody wants that. Why would you want that? Why, even if you're not into this subject, even if you don't believe it, I know there's people that listen to this podcast just to tune out of reality for a couple of hours. Yeah. So you would get, especially the stuff that Concrete's doing. you would service your fans and listeners better by leaning into it. And even if you don't believe it, like, you can turn around and say, because this is the other odd thing about it, is like Ashton's really getting criticized, like really, like real hateful shit. Like the other guy, the podcast before was saying he's a wacko, and there's some real nasty stuff floating around. Why can't they just say, I think you're wrong?
We've genuinely talked to the guy. He's not a wacko. He's
not
obviously
an
intelligent man.
Yeah.
He's a very intelligent guy, and they're coming for him on a personal level.
Yeah. But this is the thing. I mean, because the guy did tell a complete lie. Ashton said when he was on the podcast that he turned up there, the guy hadn't paid his hotel bill. After saying he would do. The guy came out and said, no, I did pay your hotel bill, and he put an image up which had details on it. Unfortunately, I've booked hotel rooms before, and what he put up was a booking reference, and Ashton paid for the hotel when he got there, because that's how fucking hotels work.
Yep.
So take what you want from everything else, because Ashton did actually put his credit card receipt up for paying for the hotel, so that's confirmed he paid for his own hotel.
Yeah.
So if you take everything else away, from the start, that guy's lied.
Yeah.
So very awkward fucking feeling about this whole situation.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I feel for him that he is definitely, he's going against the waves. Like they're crashing upon him, and they're going to continue. It'll be curious to see what bigger podcasts pick him up and run with it. Because after talking to him, I don't think that either of these guys put any real holes in Ashton. In his material, his evidence, his answers, his explanations. They're not picking anything apart. They might try and ask the question 10 different ways in a cop-esque way, like interview process, to try and get you to stumble. But I don't think you're going to get that. Like, that's not a, unless you heavily divert, and next week, I'll probably check out both of those podcasts as, 4x times as they're speaking.
Yeah. I don't get what the end goal would be for him. He's clearly put so much time and so much of his life into this that I mean, obviously, I don't mean like years, obviously, but it's still time. It's time we could be spending with his family. We know this. We do this shit, and we know that just doing like 2 shows a week can get like heavy when you're trying to do other stuff and work life around things. So he's put all this time into researching it. He's putting all this time into the social media aspect of it and getting his stuff out there. The financial reward isn't there for him to do it. So I don't believe he can be faking it. I mean, like I said on the show, I think those videos show something truly anomalous, and I don't believe they're fake. Those videos are faked. As Ashton has nothing to do with those videos, then all he's doing is supplying me evidence which backs up my thought that there is something anomalous about those videos. If the concrete guy and the other guy don't believe the videos are real, then you just turn around and say, like, I think you're wrong. I think you've come to the wrong conclusion. But they're going for Ashton like he's done it. Yeah. Like he's made the videos, like he's put them out there. They've been out for fucking years.
Yes.
I think he's been attacked because he's done such a
he pulled together the research.
He's done such a good job of the research, and that's the problem. Right? We were only speaking the other day. Like, luckily, this person has, I think maybe on the last show they did, has drifted away from what they were doing. But I thought that person might get themselves in trouble because I spoke to you about it, Dave. Because they did a really good job of
too good a job
research.
Yes,
and yeah.
and they're not prepared for that person to knock on their door.
No.
Yeah, and honestly, it doesn't like that's not how it starts out. FYI, if you ever want to know how to frighten someone, you don't knock on their door. You just show up everywhere that they're at. Yeah. Follow them in, walk in front of them, open the door for them. Don't say anything. They'll remember. 4 or 5 times they'll start clicking. I've seen you before. Have you? Weird.
The thing is, like, and you said, was it from the what was the podcast he was on? The something High Side Clips, is it High Side
Chats?
High Side Chats, yeah. And
which I like as a podcast, by the way.
I like that as a podcast. In hindsight, that seemed to be the beginning of the awkward shows for him.
That's what I mean. Like, I've listened to other shows and I was like, I like that show, and then I listened to that one and I was like,
that's odd. I've listened to the Higher Side Chats for years. Like one of the first podcasts I ever started listening to. Sorry, Ollie, we talked over.
I was just going to say, like, with there's a few people that's mentioned his Twitter account that it's from January 2014. Now, and the High Side Chats mentioned that, and he said, and it had, it seems like you've put a load of tweets out. There's a load of tweets missing. And I said to Ashton after the show, I said I was actually going to ask you about that, but then I thought I'm not going to ask you about that because that's so ridiculous. Me actually asking that question, because that's an even bigger conspiracy. That is saying he's involved because the plane went missing. Because that's saying if he joined Twitter in January to work on this, it's fucking ridiculous. That's even more ridiculous than and people saying the video's fake. People accusing him of why is your Twitter from 2014? It's actually January, before it even went missing.
The crazy thing is too about that is that would imply this was meant to happen and they were planning 9 years ago. He was crafting this 9 years ago. I don't believe that. Like I even said to him afterwards when we were all chatting afterwards, which we had we had a lovely discussion with him even after the show. We could have kept going a lot longer with him. And the reason we stopped it where we did was we wanted to focus on this part. We wanted to give him as much time as he could to talk about it, help it stay on track, and then delve, but not any further. We have him back on next time. I fully predict shit's going to go off the rails. But like I told him afterwards, like I'd read a lot of people saying, well, he's a government guy because he's posting 300 posts or whatever. And I was like, listen, I thought about asking that. I thought about prying into that, and I didn't for one reason. Your evidence is too good, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he is a government agent. He's a government disinfo agent. He's not putting forward disinfo. He's showing you receipts on why this is how it is.
Edward Snowden was a government agent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So like that doesn't disgruntle. It doesn't discredit what I think what he's doing. If he is or he isn't, I don't, whatever. Then that's the thing is people are attacking him, not the information, not what he's putting forward. It's him. Your Twitter is weird. Your Reddit is weird. Your current, where were you? Okay, that's fine. I get that you're trying to establish it, but this show is about this. He has this information. Let's get that information. And then maybe that's who he is secondary, right? Who he is secondary to the information he just put before you. I think it's weird. Not only that, they're all doing it the same way. Like what we saw on the beginning of the Higher Side Chat was, at least from what I've seen online, it seems like it's this frame narrative against him personally. Yeah. And it's continuing.
I haven't actually seen something like that from since I got it. Which was like try to discredit that man. It's psychologically, he became a whack job. I would say Alex Jones as well, but that's I'm still not sure whether that's true. But how he was discredited. Was the hook thing a happy accident for them, so they could just jump upon that to do it?
They took years afterwards to go. Like they were looking for something they could really work up.
Yeah. So, that was I don't know. I'm not sure, but like I say, I find it weird. It's something like that where it's a guy that's comes across as genuinely nice guy.
Yeah, he does come across as a genuinely nice guy.
Yeah. At very least, because we've had this before, right? We've had it before, guest on this show. So, for instance, I'm not convinced, people get abducted, for instance. Yeah, as in in the classical aliens coming down in a spaceship and taking you in a spaceship somewhere. But we've both had he's been on the show with us before, Ollie. He was on Must See Audio, and Must See Audio was a podcast too, and we had Rekkr Havoc on.
Yeah.
I don't believe that man lied to me, but I don't believe he was abducted in a spaceship by aliens. Yeah. Now, I can do that and listen to that guy's story and think about it a little bit. I don't need to fucking attack a man just because just because I don't believe it, especially when I don't believe he's lying to me. Mm-hmm. Someone can be wrong and not necessarily be lying.
Correct.
And that doesn't seem to be the grace that anyone has given Ashton. They're not giving him the great grace of being incorrect. For money.
They're not proposing that.
No,
which is interesting. I expected more CGI criticisms or AI or something. You know what I mean? Coming for the footage. They seem to have as soon as he really started bringing up that video game and how it doesn't match up. You're pulling something obscure and random. He's it doesn't. You have a clip that kind of looks in one subset of a frame that sort of look like it. And that's what they're going with. They're going with that bias that people are like, oh, it's close enough. That must be it. Boop, we're done. And now we cast it to the back of our mind instead of going, you're really doing your best to make these things to look the same, but they're in fact not the same.
I bet you if you gave me a day, in fact, I might even do it. I bet I could find probably 100 explosions, PNG files. That would fit, because explosions on a computer game, especially the older ones, that are always just round. A round explosion. So you could get any explosion and map it over around something else that's round and go, yeah, it kind of fits.
It's close enough. But with this, it's not close enough. Their whole claim was it's exactly from this. That's exactly what it is. It's not exactly what it is. That was the point. Yeah.
Also, if you can make something like that as well, my point is, if you can make that in the first place, if you could CGI that, all of that, then why take something so shit and put that in there?
Yeah.
Is that like a little Easter egg?
Yeah. I don't think so. I don't think it's in there. I think they're trying to swiftly debunk it using those sock puppet accounts, going through Reddit, getting everything he was doing was shut down.
Maybe Ashton should try and get in touch with the guy who was it, a Philips CDI game? Try and get in touch with the developer.
No, it was a 3DO game.
3DO game,
maybe. That's a good
say, look, there's this here. Can I ask, is this from your...
Independently verify whether this is your effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
That'd be funny. We could do that.
We could do that. With that, so yeah. So we do a lot of weird shows, and very rarely do I feel like I have an effect from it. And that was one of the shows I felt like there was an effect from.
Yeah, I was wired. I didn't get sleep till maybe 2-3 o'clock in the morning. The next
Me neither.
Yeah. And then when I did sleep, I had terrible sleep. But
I don't see, without sounding,
think of where you are right now. You can sound as crazy as you like.
No. I'm not worried about sound crazy, just egotistical. It's nice when you do. I've had it a few times on different shows I've done over the years. It's nice when you do a show and you can stick to talk about the sort of stuff you enjoy talking about, which is crazy stuff.
Just crazy stuff.
But you also feel like you're doing some good while you're doing it. And that show, like platforming Ashton the way we did, I hate that term. We platformed. No, we didn't. He realistically
he platformed
us. But noticing which I will pat us on the back for, I think we saw the issues with the other people that interviewed him, and we did our best to rectify what they did. I think that's why I think I personally, like, I've listened back to that show. I never listen back to shows. Never. I've listened back to that show, and I still think that was the best interview he's had. And no, it's he's a good interview anyway. He knows what he's talking about. He wants to get it out. He just needed people that were going to be the vehicles to allow him to do that.
Yeah.
And I genuinely think that if nothing else, we did a good job and a good thing allowing that to happen, and timely as well, because we the show he did with us was kind of the last show before the big boys started fucking dunking on him.
They're not even dunking on him. They're bringing him out to the court to just mock him. It's not an engagement. You know what I mean? They have a narrative and they're looking for angles to push their narrative. And it's bizarre. It's bizarre that the channels that seem to have done that. And that's, we've said multiple times, it's very telling. It's very interesting. Like, again, I go to it like the training world of like firearms and stuff like that. Occasionally you have feds that go through classes and things like that. It's just something they do. It's pretty rare. It's not common. You see one a year, maybe. Just depends on how many people you're booking. And then in this world, doing podcasts with you guys, I've seen more people that I fully 100% believe have either had discussions with people that are in government or are somehow getting subsidized by them.
I agree.
It's unfucking believable.
I think.
And how do we get on that train?
No, but
what are we doing wrong? Are we not the prettiest girl at the ball?
I think it's more than that, Dave. I think there is people that
it's my file, my federal file. I'm sure.
Yeah, everyone in the chats go. Yeah, people infiltrating your infiltrating podcasts. Ollie and Lee, have you tried looking down? I've
already cloned them. What are you talking about? That's not Ollie or Lee.
The thing is, I 100% believe that there is people that turn up in the chat of these channels, that turn up on the podcasts. I'll be dead honest. I'm not going to go up too far into it. I think there's been someone that was on the outskirts with us that sole mission was to interfere with the relationship of the three of us and what we were doing. Why? I've no fucking idea why. But even without anything, it definitely shook the foundations of here. I think you guys know what I'm saying. I'm not going to go into it too much.
There's no point. Yeah.
But it definitely had an effect. Now, I think that goes on a lot.
I think so. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, the thing is, we need to get on that side of this thing, not on this side of this thing. Listen, being the freedom fighter rebel just gets you shot in the back of the head in an alley somewhere. Being the little slutty princess who gets paid by all the wealthy men gets you rich.
Maybe
your ass hurt.
Maybe that's it, though. Maybe there's a character. Maybe there's a character.
We can play whatever character. We can play whatever.
Could we?
Money.
Could we?
Yes.
All fathers.
Yes. Absolutely. Because what it is you just don't take that boat ride.
No, I don't even mean that far. I think you can tell the people, because I think it wears on people.
Yeah, they have my psychological profile. They know I'm hostile and uncooperative at the best of times.
Well, look at I think there's disingenuous like channels out there of people. Again, I don't want to start. I consider us separate to the rest of like UFO.
We are different.
YouTube.
We're definitely different.
Yeah, so I don't want to say names because I don't want to fucking. I can't.
No, don't
do
that.
I'm not going to
Don't
watch their channels to hear them slag me off anyway, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. But I think you can see the people that this is really worn on. The people that don't believe what they're saying, that it's a heavy crown.
That, the crazy thing is, like, in this genre, I mean, just like paranormal UFO stuff in general, I think it wears on psyches of people in an unhealthy way. A lot of people. And you can see it over time. And then you have some people who have been paid or have been promised things and they're working for that payment, whatever that price is that they're trying to attain.
I think you get people that were in that situation that blew it and got really angry that they blew it as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's something. I got to tell you, if we had that situation, we wouldn't blow it. Hopefully.
You might have to blow it to get in that situation.
That's what Ollie's for.
This is when we're doing a podcast and I'm about to blow it, and Dave's messaging me going, "No, stop."
That has happened. No shit, that has happened on this show. Like, stop.
What, when Ollie was almost giving out your full address, postcode, nearest landmark.
Let's start using people's real names. No. Let's not. Let's just change the topic. Now I don't know, man. It's weird though. It's weird that so much would be focused on this. Controlling alternative media. Dude, we're not alternative media. Us saying that we're what do you say? We're a moderate sized channel.
Yeah,
we're stretching moderate a lot.
I think so. I think you don't want to use the word small. You don't want to use the word small.
No, you never tell her it's small.
No,
it's just enough.
It's far away
for me. Yeah, man. It's nuts. It's nuts.
It is nuts.
It is nuts.
Whole situation's nuts.
I don't know.
I'm gonna hit that rumble in the chat again before we.
Hell yeah, man. And the Rockfin. And so are we still thinking about doing like the stickers thing for the advertisers?
Maybe. I don't think there's an idea. I don't think there's a need for an AR meeting here.
Well, here's the thing. Like, if someone's willing to support the channel, would you be willing to buy like funny, kick-ass, conspiracy-esque stickers?
I think so. The other thing we never think about asking is if someone's willing to support the channel. We can't offer huge numbers, but if you do want to advertise on Alien Addicts for anything you might happen to use, then it's we're not. You don't just have to give to a patron. We will do advertisements as well.
Yeah,
I
but
think we could do some sort of
advertising.
Yeah, something cool. I'd like to be.
I'll advertise anything, dude. Hemorrhoid cream. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You can let us know how it works.
Well, no one. That's the thing. You say advertise something cool. The only time you know when you've made it as a podcast is when you're advertising MeUndies and dick pills. That's when you know you've made it as a podcaster.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know there was such demand for those things. Damn, this must be a big market. How many guys' dicks don't work? Whoa.
Stefan has a point here. We now have 95 people in the chat and only 52 likes. Just click the fucking like button. Just hit the like button. It's not that difficult. I'll do it. I'll do it right now. But yeah, if you could like, that'd be good. The other one would be good. That would be handy is if you listen to this podcast in audio form, and you are listening to it in audio form, go and leave us a written review. We never say this enough either. Give us like on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts. Give us a written review. Get us up the ranks. You know, then we'll get the other ones off. We'll
yeah. You guys can also
nudge some of these rubbish shows down.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, also, people can email in pictures.
250. Maybe YouTube is fucking with us.
Guaranteed. Guaranteed, dude. When we go to X, I think that's where this show has the best chance of growing, and that's fine because we're just polishing things up now. We're making all the connections to have good guests and the channels it takes to get those guests. Money, lube, and blowjobs. You got to do what you got to do. Yeah. So when we go there, we can run with that. Hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah, I think so. I think YouTube's time's coming. Like genuinely, like if you look at, you think about when MySpace was big, yeah. Nobody would have predicted MySpace just disappearing like it did. No. When Facebook was massive and everybody just used Facebook as social media, nobody would have thought it would just end up being a place that mums can sell kids' clothes on. It's these platforms have their time. Their times come and go, and then something new comes along and takes it. I was saying to Ollie the other day about. There was on the Tinfoil Hat podcast with Sam Tripoli. He was talking about Rogan going to Rumble because Spotify. There's the it's funny. He said, "I have no knowledge of this," but then went into real detail of how he believed there was people inside Spotify that didn't want Rogan on Spotify anymore. And he was like, "If that's the case, then." It's fucking wild because he's made them a ton of money, and to keep Rogan, it doesn't matter what Rogan wants, they should keep him on it. I've only got the Spotify app on my phone for Rogan, and I bet there is loads of people like me because I hate Spotify as a podcast app.
I hate Spotify. I like Podbean, by the way.
Podbean. Yeah, I just use the Apple podcast one.
Yeah, I don't
always have done, but I keep Spotify there for Rogan shows. But I believe he will move his entire show over to Rumble when
it'll be Rumble or it'll be X. It'll be Rumble or it'll be X.
I don't think X will have the facilities for him by that time.
They might already have it. Elon's just waiting.
Maybe. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I think he'll go on Rumble and do it on both. I don't think it'll be exclusive.
Yeah,
I don't think it'll just be here.
To make him exclusive, it's going to be $1 billion deal.
Yeah,
it's going to have to be $1 billion deal, which is unbelievable.
Well, when you think, this is what I find amazing with Rogan's podcast is that it was the biggest podcast in the world. It is still the biggest podcast in the world, and it's on a closed platform. You think of the amount of people he gave away by not being on YouTube, and it's still the biggest. That would be like, just even the minuscule numbers we get in comparison. Imagine we shut the YouTube channel down tomorrow and we still manage to get the same amount of numbers from somewhere. That for us, that would be impossible.
It is impossible for us, yes.
Which is why go and subscribe to the Rumble.
Even in the author world, it's interesting. Like when you release a book, you have so many months of you're really raking it in, and then things slow down, and you just get that trickle revenue of so many pages. And except for mega authors who always stay in the top 50 or the top 10 or the top 20 with a book that's 20 years old. 1984 still in the top 100. I remember when my book passed that, and I was like, "What?" But yeah, man, it's crazy out there. I don't know what's coming. I don't know what's coming with our show. I'm crediting it to you being on fire. All these guests that have been able to get lined up. You've been working your ass off. It's unbelievable. People don't even understand how awesome next year is going to be.
Yeah, I hope so.
Fantastic.
The idea is to get more and more people. My highlight so far was getting an email back from Nick Pope saying that he couldn't come on the podcast because it meant I got to message you guys. I've lost all Pope, and that's my highlight of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, we're still out there trying, man. We're still trying.
He sent such a nice reply, though. To be fair,
no, it was a really nice reply. Yeah,
look, man, he did more than Greer. He did more than
you gotta pay Greer, bro.
He did more than your man. Your man.
Who?
Last Friday.
I don't know what's going on right now.
The shoot. Oh God!
It's English, Lee. It's English.
Weaponized.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't get a reply back from him. Maybe he just hasn't read it yet.
You need to start sending those emails every day. Same email.
Well, when Jeremy asked for my telephone number so he could give me a ring.
Wow.
There you go, mate. And that were it.
He wanted your phone number for different reasons.
Didn't hear a dick.
Yeah.
That's what those dick pics were for.
So yeah, no, it's good. Like I say, there's going to be more people. We've got that's the other one. I haven't got the date booked in for it yet, but we're going to have, for anyone that listens to the my family think I'm crazy podcast. I'm a big fan of that guy. Mark's going to come on as well, speak to us. That's going to be really good because he's talked to so many people. It's just we are just going to have to plug him into the podcast and just talk about stuff because he has had an expert in all of the conspiracies talk to him about it.
Is that him that had the clown guy on?
Yeah, that's where I heard of the clown guy from in the first place, was through him, was listening to his show. And do you know what, right? A quick brief here. I'll help some people out by saying what's going on for next week. Was it a Telegram? It was a Telegram, wasn't it? Where's Telegram gone? God, there's so many messaging apps now, isn't there? Like I've literally got, Understanding Conspiracy is his show, and his name is not in my emails. I'll find it. Sorry, so many. I'm terrible with names anyway. So
we have 95 watching and only 58 likes.
No. Cheers, guys.
Come on, guys.
We should normalize that. It's like stealing. You're stealing our time, and all we ask in return is a thumb.
Oh yeah, a big thumb.
So this guy, right, I started listening to this podcast, and his theory is that our depictions of modern day clowns come from ancient depictions of Nephilim. And I remember as soon as he said that, I was listening to the podcast going, I'm in. This is bullshit, but I'm in because it sounds weird. And I listened to it and thought, oh no, this is not bullshit. This guy's done a load of fucking research.
Yes, he has.
And like when you go into the men of old, men of renowned, the red-headed I can't remember who I was going to say. Was it Ireland, England? Where was the redheaded people with the blue skin? No, anyway, it's
Norway.
Was it?
Norway.
But the yeah, it's like it's really good. He's gonna, I think he's gonna blow some minds next week.
Nice.
It's one of my favorite, one of my most sort of anticipated shows. I was so happy when he got back in touch with us. I'm gonna drop him a line on Monday just to.
We need to confirm the time.
Yeah,
and
a couple of days before.
Yeah, we're gonna do. I think I said to him 10 next week, but if we're gonna do it 9, I'll tell him 9.
Well, no, if he thinks 10, just we'll
it's
do
up
10.
to you guys, really. I know we were talking. That's what I've been saying because I know we discussed moving the time so they're both the same. People in the chat, let's have a quick thing. Do you prefer this show starting at 9 or 10?
And that is 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern for the US.
Yeah. Anyone in the chat can just drop a number up and we will see them. And this is going to be a quick consensus of our audience on a Sunday night. Because realistically, it's what
you'll be the same ones.
Yeah, it's what works with you guys.
I'm curious how many people are watching and listening and not commenting at all. How many of you voyeurs out there got your pants down? Let's go. Let's put Lee 1, Ollie 2, me 3. Who are you thinking about? 1, 2, or 3?
No, don't do that. I'm asking for numbers.
I think
I know it's going to make it more interesting.
the 9 o'clock. I mean, the 9 o'clock thing probably works better for me just because of so I can get to bed.
That's one vote for me, 1 vote for Ollie. No votes for Lee.
Oh,
3, 2, 1, 6, 9. I get to be on top though. Currently around ankles 3. Okay.
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3. Looks like Lee comes first.
No.
Darkest Schooner 2. Oh, Ollie, you got a fan. We should end every show this way. Who'd you rub one out to?
Who's hot today?
Are we going to have a long conversation with him, do you think? Because if we're going to do that, we should start it earlier so it's easier on you guys. Because if we start at 10 your time and we run for 3 hours, that's 1 a.m.
Yeah,
if we start at 9, we still end at midnight.
Starting at 9 does give us the well, again, we're having a production meeting while we're here. What I would say is that the numbers grow as the show starts. So that suggests to me that the later start is probably the best for the audience.
Yeah, we don't care though. You got to take it and you go and like it.
Yeah, Higgs said this is why Pope won't come on. Yeah, because we'll rank him.
That's right. He'll be 4. All right, for the end of show ranking, I'd love that for our new guests. What we asked who people masturbate to. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Now you're 4. Because they've been half nude this whole time. They've been obviously too busy to type anything or like anything. That means their hands are full. They're either holding the wand, flicking the bean, or
there's definitely a couple of guests I'd have had to vote for. I might be all still up here, but not down here. Down here's where the action goes on.
Yeah.
I'm like one of those, the
we should be careful because these people are probably going to come back on.
That the dashboard, the dashboard things you get where like the top's stable, but then the bottom's hula hooping. That's me. I think it's probably time we wrap the show up, lads.
I do have to think. So 73 Hengus 73 said a tight 2 hours is better than the 3 loose ones. Listen, man, if it's too loose, you just need to downgrade to something that fits. I have never ran into that. Yeah. A bloody 3 hours. That would pique my interest.
I think is this your mate, Ollie?
That is my lad. Yeah, I went out with him last night. This is why I'm feeling so rough. Yeah.
So that's a vote for 2. Thanks, Stevie.
So we will be back next week with Understanding Conspiracy, talking about Nephilim clowns on the Sunday show. I'm guessing there's no nailed down theme for Friday yet, Ollie?
Not yet, but I've got some ideas for Friday.
Ooh, nice.
Stone Hobbit has a question. Let's see if I can bring it up, unless one of you guys beat me to it. There it is. Boop.
Thank you all for sharing this space and adventure. When are you on next?
Every Friday and every Sunday.
Yeah.
Us 3 Sundays.
Friday 10 UK time, which is 5 Eastern.
Yep.
I believe. And then
Sunday,
as you've heard, is in the fucking balance.
I mean, 9 does work better for me, so I can get to so I could drive to work the next day without, because sometimes it takes me an hour to get to sleep.
Let's keep the Sunday show at 9 o'clock then.
Who'd Stone Hobbit vote for? 1, 2, or 3? These questions matter.
These questions do matter.
They put out 2 monkeys. I'm gonna go say that's an Ollie one. 2, right? 1, 2, or 3. What is happening with Rockfin shows? It's another good one. Another good question to answer.
Rockfin shows are going to come back next year in a slightly different format. I think that's the plan we spoke about. That we will be streaming these shows.
Yeah, we're live on Rockfin now.
Yeah, it's live on Rockfin now. So this will be, we are going to use Rockfin. We have an idea. It's more being a case of thinking about something we can do which is separate and different to what we're doing anyway, because if we try and do the same thing, it's the same amount of work for each show, so it's a lot of content to try and make. So if we can think of something different to do on Rockfin, which I think we've got a bit of an idea of.
We're still working on OnlyFans too.
Still working on OnlyFans.
I need to get in better shape first.
No.
Nah.
Just make them have it.
Yeah, it's just all about the girth, man. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine.
But for me personally, I think the important thing is to push the Friday and the Sunday show out on Rumble and anything, focus Rumble, Rockfin, YouTube while it's viable is what I think we should be doing with the show. And I'm going to continue to plug away at trying to get decent guests.
You're doing a great job.
No, hope so. I'm going to try. I want to do a better job. I won't consider my job done until I can turn around and say, "Welcome to Alien Addict Joe Rogan." That's when my job will be done.
Yeah, I'm glad we were able to fit you in.
Yeah. Should we disappear, guys?
Absolutely.
We got the masturbation questions. That's what mattered. Did we ever figure out who Stone Hobbit voted for? I think we just went with Ollie.
I think it was Ollie.
Yeah.
I think she likes a twink.
No, he doesn't.
Makes me happy.
It should be. Yeah. You earned that, buddy.
Nice to be loved.
Look, it's lovely to be loved.
Got to be honest, what disturbed me was how many people would like all 3 of us. Didn't see that coming, and neither would they, huh?
Are you aware of who Anton Decker are, Dave?
No.
I had a girlfriend that was obsessed with Anton Deck. They're like British celebrity, like evening time telly people. They're like Stephen Colbert, not Stephen Colbert. Who's the Jamie Fallon? They're like Fallon if Fallon was two people.
Gotcha.
And she I remember turning around and said, "Well, which is your favorite?" She said, "Well, you know, you'd have to have them both because they'd be weird they'd be weird if you had them separately."
What?
Yeah. So maybe we're just like that. Maybe it's just like, oh, you've got to go for all three of them.